Hello, hello. Oh, okay. Okay. Grand Rising. If you don't know who I already am, I am Lawson Cooper, the Youth Ministry Junior Assistant. So, the theme for 2024 is a Grand Rising. The theme for June is Holy Boldness. And the topic for today is Higher Heights. Ernest Holmes offers us this wisdom. We are changed from glory to glory, ever ascending. There is no end to the divine nature, and therefore no end to the possibility of our expressing it. But we must behold it, look steadfastly into the reality. Now let us affirm together. I continually ascend to higher heights in my spiritual awareness. Now let me introduce Reverend Dr. Kathleen Johnson.
Holy boldness, what a great topic for this month. Living from holy boldness and higher heights. What a great way to end. Which is this beautiful focus on the ever-ascending nature, not only of us, but the universe. And I was thinking about Star Trek. Remember how it started? Anybody remember how it started? Yeah, to boldly go where no one has been before. And so we are boldly going within to that ultimate, probably the greatest, I think it's the greatest journey ever. That journey within, to boldly go within. Because as within, so without. Our life becomes an outpicturing, or is an outpicturing of what our inner world is representing. So quantum physics describes this inner realm or quantum field as energy that is in constant motion, continuously evolving and expanding. And they've also discovered that we mold it with consciousness. We mold it. In other words, light particles, energy, collapses into form according to our beliefs, individually and collectively. This amazing co-creative process that's taking place. Quantum physics also says there is one unified field, and we are already one with it. We don't have to go anywhere to or find some special thing or whatever. But we gather here as community because we are continually reminding each other of who we are. And we get to participate in noticing in ourselves, or maybe supporting others in noticing any of the limiting beliefs that are in the way of the full expression of that going from glory to glory, that ever ascending process of realizing who we are in truth and expressing that in our lives. So all life forms then are a product of universal consciousness. One life, one source, one presence, one power. And we can call that presence power the field, ultimate reality, God, whatever it is that you choose. It doesn't matter. The thing is to do our best to live from that knowing, that place. Because when we do, our lives transform and everything around us transforms. I have found that over and over again. In Science of Mind and Spirit, this beautiful teaching that we are immersed in, we offer spiritual teachings and spiritual practices that help to neutralize those limiting beliefs and root us and ground us in ultimate reality and who we are in truth and what this life is all about. So I'm so grateful that I have been involved in this teaching since 1990. What is that? 34 years or something like that. A long time. And it's my life has transformed phenomenally, and I've been able to witness lives transformed around me all these years. It's been such a joy and such a pleasure, and so I'm so grateful that we are all here and a part of this ever ascending nature of the divine. The nature of the divine, which is to evolve and expand. And we see that in the universe, right? It's ever expanding. We are designed to do the same thing. And what is it that quote said, Ernest Holmes? But we must behold that reality and look at that reality over and over again. So let's do a little practice. This is something that some of you did last week with Patrick. But it's definitely worth repeating because it's very powerful and it makes a point that I think will stick with you. The first thing to do is think of a challenge that you have in your life and look down as you're thinking about it. Look down and think about the challenge. And just notice how you're feeling as you're looking down. And now think of the challenge and look up. And you're allowed to have your eyes roam around too as you look up. And notice how you're feeling now as you're looking up. What did you notice? Anybody? You can just call out. Much more possibility looking up. Anybody else? More hopeful. Open. Lighter when you're looking up. Okay. All right. So this is an illustration of what happens when we look down. What are we doing? That's when we're looking at circumstances. When we are looking at what's wrong or what we don't like, it's a downward gaze. And if you think about people who are depressed, how do they walk around? With their heads down, yes. And people who are thinking possibilities are looking up, probably arms are up, and there's this whole upward movement of mind and consciousness. And of course our third eye is up here too. I know in the yogic traditions when you meditate you focus on the third eye, it helps to open up the third eye. So there's really some ancient wisdom behind this as well, this idea of looking up and stimulating that visionary aspect of our being. Of course, I'm looking down right now at these notes, but so when we elevate, when we look up, we align with universal consciousness, that field of all possibility. And with that, solutions are available because we're tuning in to that which we are in truth. It's not something out there, it's a looking up, but it's an understanding that it's right here where we are, and we are accessing it through the looking up process. Universal consciousness, not just my consciousness, universal consciousness. Well, which is our consciousness. Thomas Troward put it this way, and I think this is so beautiful. As the individual opens to the universal seems to pour itself into the individual, resulting in expanded individualization of consciousness. Expanded individualization of consciousness. And I immediately thought of the song, Pour Yourself in Me. right? As we elevate our consciousness to align with the divine, it pours itself through us and as us. It's beautiful. So are you willing to gaze up more often, my friends? And remember, when you find yourself feeling downtrodden and looking down, remember to just lift up your chin and allow the field of all possibilities to feed you with solutions and new ideas and hope. Okay, my friends, so that's downward versus upward. We have a practice called visioning that I think is so powerful. At one point in time, I realized it's a great combination of both meditation and spiritual mind treatment. It's like pulling it all together because we ask these very deep questions. What's the highest idea of my life? And, we're looking upward, turning within, looking upward. The highest idea of my life. And we listen from that field of all possibility and get a divine download and write it down. And then it's followed up with questions on how must I grow. So what must I release in order to align with that vision? What must I embrace, become, accept to align with that vision? And then what happens is that's our inner work. That's our opportunity to release the blocks, the limiting beliefs that get in the way of aligning with that vision. And for some people who don't see pictures, I'm one of those people. Sometimes I do, but a lot of times I don't. Visioning actually means just catching a higher idea. So it can be auditory, it can be a thought, it can be a feeling. If you're a kinesthetic type person, it can be a feeling. It's still visioning. It still works. It still works in that way. I remember Jean Houston, one of the great visionaries of our time, when I studied with her in mystery school, said, she says, I don't see pictures. She said, I receive thoughts. And so I was so glad she said that because I'm going to pass that on to everybody. When we say visioning, it might be thoughts that you receive during that time, and it's all good. Stair steps to heaven. In Science of Mind, we believe that heaven is a state of mind, a state of consciousness, by that beautiful song we just sang of Stephen's. And as a state of consciousness, there are steps that we can take in order to cultivate that heavenly state of consciousness. That's the seek first the kingdom of God and all else is added. That's what we do. We cultivate that heavenly state of consciousness and all else is added. Everything starts flowing. So some people meditate in order to go deeper within and experience that illuminated bliss. And some people do it often, and others ascend through prayer and chanting and movement, like Tai Chi or dance or yoga, into a state of reverence. I was thinking of the Sufi dancers too, using that kind of movement to get into a state of bliss. Others study sacred texts to gain understanding, wisdom, and to understand higher states of consciousness. And still others sing and play music, spiritual music, to get in alignment with that vibration of joy and love. So whatever it is, there are many paths, and that's one of the things I love. We don't have that's one of the issues is maybe we need to put up I'm going to go get it. Let's see if it stays on here. Oh, it does. Yeah, so this beautiful altar cloth, which has our Signs of Mind symbol for creation, also has the interfaith or oneness symbol that reminds us of the oneness of the many paths, but one ultimate destiny, which is attuning with that sense of oneness, that presence, that life, that power, which I call God. So the key is I encourage you to use whatever works for you. I'm not here to dictate what it is that you do, but to encourage you to choose what works. And to experiment, be open and experiment. Beloved community is the last thing I want to talk about. Beloved community. We ascend to higher heights. We can do it on our own, but it's so much more fun to do it in community. We can ascend to higher heights in community. And in the process of caring and caring for one another and sharing forgiveness practices, doing our inner healing in an atmosphere of loving support. And the key is to stop hurting each other. Right? The inner healing to stop hurting each other so that we become a beneficial presence. That's one of my favorite concepts that I learned through this teaching. The importance of becoming a beneficial presence, and my inner work allows me to do that. Center for Spiritual Living's community is not only supporting individuals, but we understand the importance of supporting organizations who are doing good work in the world, like Water is Life Kenya, like the Salvation Army when we do our holiday thing, the food bank, various organizations that we've supported over the years. So that's what we can do collectively. We can really gather our resources and make a big difference in the world. And the thing that's so beautiful about selfless sacred service, which is what I'm talking about, is the boomerang effect. We can call it the law of circulation, but I like the boomerang effect. That when we bless others, it boomerangs back and showers us with blessings as well. So my concluding story is about a dear friend of mine. Her name is Ginny Frezzo. I got word a couple weeks ago that she had, that was about a week ago actually, that she had made her transition. And this was a dear, dear friend, someone who exuded unconditional love, who exuded being non-judgmental. And we could talk about anything. We used to teach parenting education classes together in the early days for 10 years. And then we would meet like once a year and reconnect and share and get updated. And she was very deeply on her own spiritual journey. So we had lots to share. So the honoring, the legacy that she left behind that was so beautifully expressed at her celebration of life service on Friday reminded me so much about what this ascension process is all about. It's about being that loving, open-hearted, non-judgmental presence for each other. And so I just want to leave you with that. And so as we boldly go, take that deep dive within, let's do that now. Let's celebrate this opportunity to embrace one another in love and to allow that light, that love, that presence of the divine that we are in truth to come bursting forth into radiant and vibrant expression in every area of our lives. So we are just a walking blessing, a walking, breathing